The COVID surge driven by this highly transmissible Omicron variant. Just before we came on the air tonight, the CDC confirming what so many of us have heard from family members and colleagues, loved ones, that everyone seems to know someone now dealing with this. Tonight, the CDC says Omicron, this new variant, now makes up 73% of all new cases, and in some parts of the country, more than 90% of new cases are Omicron. Cases doubling every 2 to 3 days. So, of course, what do you do to make sure your holidays are safe? Dr. Jha is standing by to answer your questions tonight. In the meantime, take a look at the map. In just 2 weeks, 26 states have seen new cases rise 10% or more. And in 7 states, the ones there in red, new COVID cases are up 50%. Long lines for testing across this country tonight. In New York City, people standing in the cold weather. In New York State alone, cases tripling in just a week, a 4th day in a row, setting new records. And a long line of cars again at Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. And of course, this surge coinciding with the busy travel season. Take a look at the crowds at Boston's Logan Airport. Tens of millions of Americans expected to travel for the holidays. Holiday performances tonight now extending their cancellations. Nearly a third of all Broadway shows shut down for now. And of course, sports too, the NFL, and now more than a quarter of NHL teams canceling games due to COVID. And news from Moderna tonight. They say their current booster shot produces a strong antibody response against the Omicron variant, according to their new data. They also say they're developing a new Omicron-specific shot anyway. Meantime, tonight, there are reports the first Omicron death in this country. Reports out of Harris County, Texas tonight that they have confirmed the first death, a man in his 50s in Harris County. And what we know about this case so far. We're tracking it all tonight. And here's our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, leading us off here in New York.
Tonight, just days before Christmas, the nation's top doctors are warning of a surge of cases unlike anything we've seen so far in this pandemic, driven by Omicron. The variant now accounting for 73% of COVID cases across the U.S., in some parts over 90%. It was recorded as 3% last week. New York's Governor Kathy Hochul revealing cases in New York State have tripled in a week. And for a 4th day in a row, setting new records. But with effective vaccines and now the boosters so far seemingly making symptoms less severe, the governor urging calm.
It's not March of 2020. It's not even December 2020, just to keep things in perspective.
The dramatic rise in cases coming just as tens of millions travel for the holidays. The TSA reporting over 6.3 million travelers this weekend, 83% of pre-pandemic levels. At LaGuardia today, travelers lining up for tests. The skyrocketing demand in New York City forcing officials to add over 20 more city-run testing sites in the coming days. And what concerns authorities most, just how transmissible Omicron is.
This virus is extraordinary. It has a doubling time of anywhere from 2 to 3 days.
The CDC has discussed models showing the variant will surge through Christmas with a peak in mid-January, finally trailing off in March. The warnings from top officials, if Americans aren't vaccinated, boosted, and wearing masks in public places, this could multiply very quickly.
We could be having 1 million cases a day if we're not really attentive to all of those mitigation strategies. And I don't know that we'll hit that, but there are certainly projections that say that could happen.
But tonight, an encouraging headline. Early data from Moderna showing its current vaccine booster increases antibody levels against Omicron 37-fold. Pfizer saying its booster increased antibodies 25-fold. The variant already sweeping through Houston, where one hospital found 82% of new symptomatic cases are caused by the variant. The speed of that onslaught shocking doctors there.
It's really achieved in about 3 weeks what it took Delta 3 months to accomplish.
The surge at first fueled by the Delta variant, now Omicron 2, shutting down holiday traditions. Almost a third of Broadway shows have been canceled, including blockbusters like Hamilton. And 3 Democratic lawmakers, Senators Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker, Representative Jason Crow, revealing breakthrough cases. Maryland's Republican Governor Larry Hogan as well. Senator Warren tweeting, "I regularly test for COVID, and while I tested negative earlier this week, today I tested positive with a breakthrough case. Thankfully, I'm only experiencing mild symptoms, and I'm grateful for the protection provided against serious illness that comes from being vaccinated and boosted." Nearly 50 people aboard this Royal Caribbean cruise testing positive when it docked in Miami. 98% of them were fully vaccinated. The long lines snaking around COVID testing sites coast to coast.
She's under the weather, so got to get tested for daycare. And with Christmas coming up and the grandparents potentially visiting from West Seattle, we want to make sure she isn't spreading it to them.
And in another sign of how politicized vaccines have become, fans of former President Trump booing when he acknowledged he got the booster.
Did you get the booster?
Yes.
I got it too. Okay, so...
Don't.
In Michigan, which has been struggling through its latest surge for nearly 3 months, fewer than 15% of ICU beds are now available.
We're definitely seeing an increase in the amount of ventilators being used. One of the scary, or I should probably say sad things are that these patients that are requiring the ventilator, the overwhelming majority of them are not vaccinated.
And of course, our concern continues to be for the frontline workers as well. Matt Gutman with us here tonight. And Matt, as I mentioned right off the top tonight, there are initial reports that health officials in Texas have confirmed the first Omicron-related death.
David, we have just learned that this victim is a male in his 50s from the eastern part of Houston. That's in Harris County. The judge of the county just tweeting out that they have learned that this man was unvaccinated. The news of this first Omicron death coming almost exactly as the county elevated its threat level to orange, meaning that COVID is uncontrolled in the county. Now, it is important to note that there is no any indication that Omicron is more virulent than any other variant. In fact, there is data, preliminary data, saying the opposite, that for those who are immunized, it is less severe. David?
Yeah, let's hope that holds true in the coming weeks. And I know many people, Matt, thanks to you, we have a lot of questions to get to for all of you at home tonight. We're going to bring in Dr. Ashish Jha, Dean of the Brown University School of Public Health. And Dr. Jha, great to have you with us. You're following this right along with us, and you heard the new numbers just before we came on tonight from the CDC. Omicron now the dominant variant in the U.S., 73% of new cases, and in some parts of the country, more than 90% of cases. This is going to rattle a lot of people. We knew highly transmissible. This was your suspicion last week when we were on the air, but this is very fast.
Yeah, good evening, David. Thanks for having me back. It's very, very fast. I think it's caught a lot of health officials off guard, just how quickly it has become dominant. We expected it by the end of December. To get there even before Christmas is a little bit of a surprise, but it is a very contagious variant.
Doctor, we're hearing a lot of breakthrough cases, even those who have been vaccinated, 2 shots, and who've been boosted so far. And you heard Matt allude to this just moments ago. You heard him say this here, that at least anecdotally, among those who are vaccinated and boosted, milder symptoms, at least so far.
Yeah, that's the big difference now between this versus previous variants, is that we are going to see vaccinated people get infected, hopefully lower rates, especially if you're boosted. But most of them will have very mild disease. And that's what we've got to do, is we've got to stop paying attention to the infection numbers and really pay attention to who's getting sick from this. My hope is that most, and my expectation is that most vaccinated people will do just fine, even if they have that breakthrough infection.
All right. This question is going to be a little tough for you because you can't solve this problem. It's a little bigger than the two of us. But if you want to keep your family safe in the coming days, and you're vaccinated and you're boosted, but you still want to test, Dr. Jha, you saw the long lines there in our lead piece, pharmacy shelves empty for these at-home test kits. So that's a challenge. And then again, the second part of this is, what if the test comes back positive in the middle of your family get-together?
Yeah, this is a challenge, and I wish we had more of these rapid tests. These rapid tests are coming on and off shelves very quickly, so if you can't find them today, look for them tomorrow. I think that's the test that you should be using before you get the family get-together. If you're positive, you got to isolate for at least 5 days, maybe longer. You can't, because otherwise you're going to end up spreading it to other family members, which obviously nobody wants to do.
All right, Dr. Jha with us, and I suspect we'll talk again this week. Thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.